One word. Skadoosh. Yes, Po, the Kung Fu Panda Dragon Warrior, is back for another adventure. And this time, he's playing more of a mentor figure. It's time for him to step down as the standard Dragon Warrior and embrace his destiny as the spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace. But Po doesn't like change, which I can totally relate to, on so many levels. But then he meets a young fox, played by Awkwafina, who is still very, very Awkwafina, but if some people find her annoying, she'll be less so in this version, in this go-around. But she's still classically Awkwafina, thankfully. Their back and forth is cringe-worthy, but in a good way. She's trying to teach Po how to be a criminal, and Po's trying to teach her how to be one of the good guys. But when the chips are down, they really make for a decent team. This story is fairly short, just a little bit over half an hour, or hour and a half. And it uses the time well. Just enough exposition, and the main story is basically back and forth between Po and the fox, and they don't grade. I mean, on our nerves. They're really enjoyable to watch together. A good two-person team. As for the villain, she's pretty one-dimensional, but her abilities make her interesting. And she's got a semi-sympathetic backstory. Seems like everybody's got a sympathetic backstory these days. Honestly, I'm glad they brought back Ian McShane's character, who kind of wasn't sympathetic. Well, to a degree he was, but a good evil for evil's sake villain, I'd appreciate that. As for the villain in this one, she was fun to watch. Especially since, instead of simply changing color and pattern, she shapeshifted between various creatures. And it was fun to see what she'd become next. But the transformations were really intense. Almost gory. But yet not. You almost think she might have been feeling every bit of the transformation, like she was tightening all her muscles at once, which is very dangerous. Cramps are nothing to be scoffed at. As for the various returning cast members, not counting the Furious Five, who actually take a back seat for once, everybody who came back was enjoyable and consistent, but not boring. There are even various background characters, including I can never remember how to pronounce his name, but the actor who played Short Round in the Indiana Jones films and recently came back into the spotlight for his characters in Everything Everywhere at Once and Season 2 of Loki. Let me see if I can punch up the character's name. Here we go. Ki Hui Kwan. He is an amazing actor, and I am so glad he came back into the spotlight. I guess it's too much to ask that he reunite with Harrison Ford for an Indiana Jones flick. Or heck, they don't even have to do an indie flick. They can just do a movie together and it'd be awesome. But anyway, he was a nice surprise. And not only that, there were a ton of characters from previous adventures. And I think some of them were from the Kung Fu Panda TV show. There were two. One that was on, I think, Nickelodeon, and the other was on Netflix. And I think they both had characters that showed up in this film. I'd have to rewatch those shows to be sure. But anyway, the cast was brilliant. Even characters that didn't get a line because the producers decided not to pay their voice actors. Just kidding. The cinematography and the animation were amazing. They were able to sneak in quite a bit of gorgeous scenery and various styles to complement the various kung fu techniques that were on display. And while personally I think the third film had the best visuals and the second film had the best story, this one was no slouch. It might be the fourth chapter in the Kung Fu Panda saga, not counting the series, because those were sort of side quests. But this was a solid outing. If you're a big fan of Kung Fu Panda, I don't think you'll be too disappointed. And if this is your first outing, watch the previous films and maybe check out the two series on Netflix and wherever Nickelodeon keeps their extra programs and stuff. Because seeing Po as the Dragon Warrior and just as a humble noodle-loving panda, a humble dumpling-loving panda, is worth it. Because this franchise has a lot more staying power than I think any of us could have realized, given how silly the premise is. So yeah, it's consistent with the previous films, and I look forward to seeing Kung Fu Panda 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however many they can do before the cast retires. Considering the voice actor who plays Poe's Goose Dad, James Hong, is in his mid-90s, they better start getting the let out. But seriously, I love this franchise. Well, I like this franchise a lot. And I want to see it go to whatever conclusion that they can come up with that's satisfying for everyone. This is Mr. J signing out and reminding you, just because you have a bit of a weight problem doesn't mean you can't reach the heights only a dragon can reach. Long live Kung Fu.